got no got no fancy little thing yet, and so it's pretty
It's
much
a work in process.
it's definitely a work in progress. So everything I'm doing now is just click on things and going.
Yep.
Um, so for everybody here, this for my YouTube audience, this
Hey, thank
is
you for checking out my Twitch channel.
that is
I'm
not what I wanted to hear. Thank you. To open up my Twitch. Anyways, thank you for checking out my Twitch channel. No, seriously. Thank you for coming check it out. This is the podcast. This is Bear Thoughts. Hopefully with the S soon and kind of weird with Bear Thoughts, like you're like the thought like a girl. This is my co-host. As some of you may know him as Stealthy's husband, or you may know him now as Kovo Ninja. Hope I'm saying that correct.
Corvo, buddy.
Corvo. I'm sorry. Okay, so Corvo Ninja, and he is my co-host. He'll be my other half, I guess you would say. And when I'm not here, he will be taking my spot or taking the main spot as the thing. So I hope y'all come to know him. We're gonna pretty much gonna come to know him today. I know some of y'all already know me. If you don't already know me pretty well, because you're my family, you come from my channel, or you come from whatever. You may already know me. So this will be a lot to get to know him. So, Corvo, can you give me an idea? Well, let's start off with pretty easy. Where were you born? Where did you come from other than
All right.
obviously the United States?
So I am a South Georgia boy, born and raised. I was born in Albany, Georgia.
Albany. Okay,
Yeah.
so is that a very like country area, or is that a suburban area? Like
Uh, I guess if you wanted to compare it to what most people consider a big city, it would be considered a small city.
small city, so
Yeah,
a
it's a
lot of
little larger than a town, but not quite as big as like, one of these metropolises.
okay, so when I say small city, and I mostly think of like small cities like a bunch of rednecks everywhere, and like the only thing they really do is either go out hunting somewhere, and when you get older you find out that most small cities have like they're pretty much the same stuff: drugs, redneck stuff, and a lot of people having babies where they
So you're right on a few of those points. It is very much a redneck area down here. We do a lot of hunting and a lot of fishing and a lot of hot rodding. Um, and we pretty much whatever comes up is the thing of the day. You
honey.
never know, so it can happen at any moment. Um, I grew up pretty much playing in parks in apartment complexes and trying not to shoot my neighbors in the foot with a firecracker.
With the firecrackers, so firecrackers were legal where you lived at, because I know some states there weren't legal.
Not well, not exactly, but my parents were my parents and family were some of those people that didn't mind crossing the state line to get something and bring it
Okay.
back so the kids could have some fun.
All right, so where we came from, fireworks were purely legal. Were legal, so we can get them at any time, and we shoot her. The bigger, the better. We shot them at each other. We shot them. We shot them in the sky. We were shooting them everywhere. For those who do not know, from my YouTube channel, again the Twitch channel is Bear Thoughts. Bear Thoughts. Yeah, my wife is, and apparently my mom is calling me. That's good timing. All right, so, um, what were your? I would say, what was your childhood kind of like? Like, I'm sure they're like, had a mother, you had a father. Obviously, you were born. Um, but were you like born in the woods? Were you born, like I was, playing a lot of video games? Were you, uh,
So the first few years, I'd say up until I was like 6 or 7, it was pretty much country boy. We were in the woods, BB rifles. We were in the fields, wrestling. We were chasing animals that probably shouldn't have been chased. And then the world of Atari and Nintendo fell into my lap,
so
and
who introduced you to video games?
that would be my older cousin,
Your cousin.
Mark. Mark. He had an old Atari back when they first came out, and I got to see what Centipede was like. And after that, it was a whole different world for me.
So it wasn't like Centipede on the phone where you're going, Mama, I'm bored. I'm sitting here. Let me see your phone. And you're playing a little Centipede, trying to get the little marble across the street without trying to run
No,
into yourself and see if you can beat the score from last
no,
time.
not at all. It had a single joystick with a red button on the top, had a cord on it. You had to sit kind of close to the TV and with this kind of motion
Oh,
here.
yeah, the little
And
click click.
you literally had to guide it back and forth up the screen without getting destroyed.
Okay, so you were the beginnings.
Yeah.
Did you ever play ET on there? Did you ever get
Yes,
the
I did.
you
I
played
did play
ET?
ET. I
Okay, for
did
those who
play
do not
ET.
know, ET was a Atari game that was notorious for being horrible. The controls were horrible. The gameplay was horrible. It was unwieldy, unusely, to the point it got so bad that people that want to buy this game or play this game, they buried it in a desert for multiple years. They went into maybe 2 or 3 years ago. They actually dug them up for whatever reason. They dug them back out, and then people started buying them for their terribleness. That's no way of saying it. They were a horrible game. So you were one of the kids that were
Yes,
unfortunate to have ET. That
yes.
did somebody give it to him or did you buy it?
No, somebody purchased it for me for a present one year for the holidays,
Oh, you poor
and
thing.
about 5 days into it, I had to have a new joystick for my Atari because it flew against the wall.
You broke it.
Yes.
Smooth, smooth. I'm pretty sure your parents were happy about that.
Well, see, my parents were very much those kind of people that would sit there and watch you do something,
Yeah.
and if they realized that part of your frustration was not because of you, but because whoever developed this poopy game didn't make the controls worth a crap for a 6-year-old,
No, they
um,
didn't care.
then when I broke it, it was more like they called the person that purchased the game for me for the holidays, like, "Hey, you know that game you purchased? Yeah, it just cost us some money."
My son just got done destroying it.
And then, because it was my grandparents, my grandmother was like, "Okay, well, when he comes up next week, I'll buy him a new one."
So he introduced you to Atari, and then your parents bought you an Atari, and that was your beginning of
Video
us.
games, yes.
Well, video games, and also probably staying indoors a lot more often.
Well, no, I probably would have if I'd have been given that option, but my father was a very big person. I mean, he was an ex-Marine,
Okay.
so he was all about the balance. It was perfectly fine for me to play the video game, but I had a set amount of time I could have the video game per day. And then after that, it was either you go outside and you play or you do something else, but you're not staring at the TV all day.
Oh yeah, but my parents definitely had that same mentality. Like my outside play, it's gonna sound weird, but this is what I enjoyed. I always one thing I always had a stick with me. So whenever I go outside, I had a stick in my hand somewhere somehow. I liked having sticks
Absolutely.
because I was always Mister Imagination. I was definitely
Absolutely.
playing with that, and especially during love bug season. I had like a score with those things. Don't know why. There was always so many of them. I would go outside and swing away as if I was playing baseball, with just hitting as many of them as I possibly could, or I was climbing a tree. That was my two things: climb a tree, get to the top of it, or hit bugs, or hit something else. We'll get to that story later on. There was a third thing I was hitting, and wasn't animals. Promise you. I wasn't messed up. Uh, Stealthy. Everybody say hello to the wife of the family.
She's trying to figure out where we are. It's
Bear
a
thoughts.
Bear Thoughts, babe. Twitch.tv Bear Thoughts.
She
Okay.
wasn't in my stream to find out because she wasn't there. Anyways,
Anyway,
so I was outside. That was my general playing outside. Was just go outside, climb a tree, or beat something with a stick. That was my fun time. Okay, so you got into Atari. I would imagine you probably afterwards. Were you a kid that kept up with the consoles? Were your parents one of those cool
Yes,
parents
I
that were like, "Hey,
yes,
new
I
console
was.
coming out, you're getting it."
Absolutely. My parents weren't the ones that did that for me. It was more of I was the guy that went and saved my money so that I could have that next console. I still have an original Nintendo NES in this house that functions right now.
So it's
So
original. It's the original.
yes, it's
Like
original.
like this is one you grew up on and
Yes,
never
yes,
got rid of it.
yes, yes.
Ah.
The next time we discuss, I'll make sure I'll bring it down, and I'll pop it up here for you so you can see it.
So I
But
got another one, but ever since I was a kid, I was kind of upset. That, like especially when I grew up, I realized that how much I wish I never let my Nintendo get out of my grasp. I missed it. I missed it. Boy, I missed it. Like even when when I had a 64, even when I had an Xbox, I still miss my original Nintendo. Well, especially Super Nintendo. That was the one that I was like. I had Nintendo, but I grew up on my Super Nintendo. That was my upbringing, really. And then when they got rid of it to sell it for Christmas money, I regretted it, and I missed all the games, and now I can't get all the games because 'cause they're super expensive. Ah,
oh,
she's just bringing in here.
delivery. There you go, bro.
That's your
Right?
original. I can definitely tell
Ye-
it's been through here. Okay, for those who can't for those who can't see right now, he's holding up the original or not Super Nintendo, the regular Nintendo. A little bit beat up at the front, definitely a scar up top of it. Guess there's a story there, probably either from moving or from other things. And we got to make sure we can explain ourselves. And she put some other console on your head. What console was
Yes,
this?
doubt. I will tell you, this console is the console that took the most wear in my entire gaming career. It was the original Sony PlayStation.
That is wait, that's the
That's the
original? But I thought
no.
the
This
original
is
was the
it's a slim, but it is a
okay.
PS1, is what I mean. And this thing has been through me, Stealth, both the kids, and half of my family, and got back here.
Okay, so okay, he's holding for those who don't know, the original PlayStation was a little bit more boxy, a little bit
Yeah,
more boxy
look,
instead of pop top, but this thing is a slim and it's yeah, you could definitely tell it's been through some kids.
yeah, yeah.
It has been a little beat up. It's not as fancy looking. I'm sure you some good polish on that thing. You probably get at least looking somewhat nice, but you can definitely tell it's been through the kids. So okay. Now there's a story I definitely do want to get back with you because you say you normally go out in the military with your father would definitely be like, hey, you're going outside, you're exercising, you're doing something.
Yes.
And we talked about this story before. You know what I'm talking about here? Your escapades with your father. When you're,
Oh,
I want to go
oh,
through this story
okay.
a little bit more
So,
detailed.
so me and my father had what I would call a very tight relationship. I was my father's number one ride or die. It didn't
Was you
if
the
it was
oldest, the youngest? Which one were
I
you?
was absolutely the youngest child in my entire family.
So you were the baby of the family.
Little backstory so you understand that.
Okay.
My father was married twice before my mother, and my mother was married once before my father.
Okay. So
Both
divorced
of them
family.
had both of them had a couple of kids before me. So I have some half siblings out there, but out of all the siblings, I am the youngest.
Okay.
So by this time, my mother, her two girls, her ex-husband had custody of them. My father, his two wives had custodies of their respective children. So when by the time I come along, they meant they were going to make it work with each other no matter what because neither one of them wanted to be without their child again.
Okay.
So it made for a little bit of uh, a little bit more loving dynamic, I would think, in the family.
Very
Um,
focused on the kids.
very focused on very focused on making sure I had what I needed. if I wanted it and it was feasible, then they did what they could do to get it. Um, but now that being said, they didn't have a problem with saying no either if they felt like it was not something that was going to be beneficial.
Okay, so you say your dad was a military. We'll get back to the story in a bit. Also got two questions for you. So your dad was the military. Um,
Yep.
did y'all travel a lot? Like I know a lot, I actually knew quite a few kids that were ex-military families, and they told me of a lot of travel that they did.
So by the time I come along, Dad was out of the military.
Okay, so he was
But he had been through the whole military thing prior to me. Um, he was a military, sniper. He was a
sniper.
Marine Corps sniper. He was a
Okay,
Marine Corps sniper.
was he Purple Heart or was he a honorable discharge?
Honorable discharge. I do not know about any other details to his military career as far as things that he may have done or been accredited for, because there was quite a few things he was unwilling to talk about. My understanding as I've gotten older, talking to my uncle, which is his brother and stuff, there was a lot of things that Dad had to do when he was in the military that um,
He may not
he
have been
looked back.
proud of.
Yeah, he looked back on and wasn't very happy with. Being a sniper takes a toll on you. There's a mental aspect to that because you literally are sitting somewhere completely out of view and you completely have this person's life in your hands. You're making the decision for that person to no longer breathe without them even knowing you're there. And that can really affect you mentally. So he didn't really want to talk about that a lot.
Okay, well, that's understandable, and sometimes people don't know how to necessarily just accept that as a fact, and I understand why that is fully. Now my grandfather was a Air Force, but that was only really military side of it that I've ever really had. I didn't have a military upbringing, so I've always been kind of like I knew people that literally like they said they grew up in Japan and because of their military upbringing, and then after a while they moved back to the states, and I was like, man, that must have been really cool to live outside the country, and then and they're like, no, it wasn't. I never could make friends. It was awkward. It was just we're always were moving. We never stood still. Um, it just wasn't a good way for a kid to grow up according to their eyes. So I didn't know maybe he had that. So okay, back to the story. Um, one more thing. Were you the were you the child with this mother or this your current mom? Like, was that like the last woman he was with? He had a child and it was you.
Yep, that was it.
Okay,
That
so
was
that's
it. He passed away.
uh, uh,
Sorry, dude. You led me into it, but yeah, that was the last one he was with.
I
Yep,
did that one already, chat.
absolutely.
I did want y'all let know that yet. I want to give y'all a little longer. Yeah. But anyways, okay. So the trips you and your father took a lot. What was those?
Okay, so through my school career, there was I was had a horrible attendance, and that was largely due to my father not wanting to be alone. Um, he would quite literally ask me in the mornings when mom wasn't around, "Hey man, do you want to go to school?" And I'd be like, "Not really." He's like, "Okay, so this is what you do: jump on your bike down the dirt alley a little bit, pop off and hide. When she leaves, you come back, we go fishing."
And how long
And we,
did you do this before? Like
well,
let's how many
it,
school years did you do this? That's probably a better question. How many school years did
uh,
you do this?
I did it from the time I was able to ride a bike to school, so I would say about 7 up until I was 12,
So 7 to 12, 5
5 years.
years.
Yeah,
5 years of
yeah,
partially bad attendance because your father didn't want to be alone and he wanted to go fishing. And who's the best
yeah,
buddy to take with him? His youngest
me.
son.
Yep.
Did your older siblings like ever want to go along? Did they ever go along? Were they ever
They're
jealous of this fact?
they're the only sibling that lived close enough to us that could have participated in that. There was some legal standings that prevented him and dad being around each other until he was 18.
Okay.
So His mom thought that it was best for them to not interact until he was an adult. Uh, I don't know all the details behind it. I just was told that it wasn't possible.
Okay, so you didn't very much have very many of your siblings around.
None of my siblings were in the house at all when I grew up. Matter of fact, it was not until I was 6 or 7 that I even knew I had siblings.
Okay, 6 or 17 even knew you had siblings. Okay, so
Yep.
would you ever like wanting like I want a brother, I want a sister, I want someone to play with?
No, I never had that problem because there were so many family members that lived close by. I had so many cousins in the immediate area. I never I never lacked for someone to play with. Like I spent a lot of time with Mark or Brandon, my two cousins that live probably maybe 5 or 10 minutes from me. I
Uh-huh.
mean, that's who I hung out with, it's what I did. Uh it was a big shocker the day I was picked up from school and told, "Hey, we got to go to Albany to your grandparents' house. Your sister's here." Huh? What?
when
Say
she
what
get
now?
when did mama get pregnant?
Pretty much. It's like, man, that stork. Woo, he snuck right on by me. You know,
Okay, so it was a I bet that was a very I would imagine for a kid it's probably pretty uncomfortable. It's like, I don't know you. Who are you? Who are you
actually,
from?
no, it wasn't like that for me because I guess I would say I'm a little out of the ordinary with situations like that.
Yeah.
I really literally took it that, okay, so I have a sister I don't know about, but hey, I'm down with it. Let's go. What we waiting on?
So you
I'm
wanted
ready
to
to go see this.
play. You're already ready to play with them. You're already ready to get to know them. You're ready to move
Absolutely.
around you and
Absolutely.
see them every
And
day.
then to find out she's 16 years old was really a trip.
Okay, you were like 7 or 8, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you weren't at that age. Just like, okay, sister.
Yeah. So it was very interesting, but she took to me instantly,
Hmm.
to the point that she didn't even let me go home with mom and dad that night. I had to spend the night with granny and granddad. And even till this to this day, she is out of all my siblings, she is the one that will, if I batted my eyes wrong and she thought something was wrong, she'd be at my door.
Aw. Okay, that's very sweet. All right, so when was okay? You said for 5 years, and you told
Yep.
me at one point you got caught. Now, try to
Yeah.
go through the details here and of the day you got caught.
Okay, so the day I got caught, I got up that morning like usual, had breakfast. Me and dad were sitting in the living room. Mom was back in the back of the house, and he did his normal, "Hey man, you want to go to school today?" I'm like, "No, not really. I never want to go to school." He's like, "Well, you know what to do, and I'll get the stuff ready. All you'll have to do is ditch your bike and hop in. We'll ride." So I went on about my business like I normally do. "Hey, mom, I'm done with breakfast. I'm heading out to school. Love you. See you when I get home from school. All that good stuff, you know." Gave her hugs and kisses and got my backpack. Jumped on my bike, and I where we lived in like a little V. So there was a dirt alley that went up beside the house that went out to a paved road that led to the school.
Okay, so
And
you
and then
you were a bicycle ride away from school?
yeah, so I was a bike ride. I could be at school in probably 6 minutes on my bike.
Uh huh.
So I hopped on my bike and I pedaled off down this little dirt alley. And about 3/4 of the way down, this old lady that lived down there, her backyard met up to the alley, and she had a bunch of honeysuckle bushes right there on that road.
Did you ever take it to
So
honeysuckles before? Like when I was a kid, we had
yes,
honeysuckles, and it was always such a pain in the ass to try to take the front of it and snap the back out of it, and like try to get your mouth right there. So as soon as the honey came out, you were able to lick it. And
yeah,
I was not very good at it. I couldn't tell you how many times I broke off and I would start to lick and none of it was on the stem. I'm like, "Where's the honey?" And
yeah.
just
I
like
got to be a professional at that, because those honeysuckle bushes, they were so tall and so thick. That's exactly where I hid my bike.
you just yeet in there.
No, no, no. I had made me a spot where when I got part of the way down, I could kind of turn my bike in
Mm-hmm.
and pull it in, kind of weave it in the bushes behind it.
Like a
And
driveway.
my bike was one of those old Huffies that was that green and black
Yeah.
mountain bike style.
So you
So
couldn't
it
very much
just
see it.
disappeared. It just disappeared. So I rode up in there and hit it, and I ducked down behind the bushes, and I watched for mom's car to leave. And as usual, she left and headed off to work. I said, cool. So pull my bike back out, jumped back on it, rode back down to the house, and pushed it into this little building that dad had that locks because he's the only one with a key. And he'd lock it because then mom would, there's no way for her to find the bike. She can't get in.
Uh-huh.
So I push it in there, I lock it, and I'm starting towards the car as dad is pushing fishing rods in because we had an old Thunderbird, one of the really old ones, like a 70s model,
Okay.
and big old boats. And he's pushing these rods down through the windows because they're going to hang out a little bit. And right as I round the corner and he's hollering at me to grab the cooler, she comes pulling back up in the yard. She forgot her wallet. So at that moment, I have to say my dad is a champ. He looked at me and said, "Run, boy, run! I'll deflect her."
So okay. Did you like, was that the day of confession of all the years, or was that just like the one time you got caught?
Oh no, dude. There was no need for confession or anything because over the years she had seen this report about me having randomly bad attendance. She thought that I was just skipping school and hiding out somewhere, and she never could figure out where it was. So she didn't argue with me a whole lot about it because if she argued with me, she'd never find it, in her mind.
Okay.
But as soon as she rolled up in the yard and seen him with those rods and me standing there, it just instantly all made sense.
Okay, so the years of reports of son skipping out, son not coming into school, son not being there, it all made like, oh, this is what you've been doing this entire time for 5 years.
Yeah. So we are bracing ourselves because my mom's kind of a small lady, but when she gets at that time when she got teed off, anything from a sandal to a frying pan to a broom, anything can contact your body at any given moment. Dad's like, "Run! I'm a big fella. I'll deflect her." And I'm looking at him like, "You are the bravest person I've ever met in my life." Because if I have to pick who I'm fighting, it's not mom, you know.
Yeah, you
And
can't hit mom. You can't. You could.
eh,
You probably shouldn't hit your dad either, but like at least you can hit him and he'll be able to suck it up. If you hit your mama, you're like
yeah,
you will
that's
never
a
forgive
the
yourself.
the dad conflict is a story for a different day, but believe me, there's one there.
Okay.
But yeah, we're waiting for this big bomb to blow up, and without missing a beat, she just looks at my dad in his eyes and says, "So you couldn't have offered to take me too?"
And you stop running like, sure, mom, you come along. Come on, let's go. Let's get it.
I just turned back around. And I'm like, I looked at him. I was like, "Wow, we're kind of dumb. We never really did think about doing that."
Forgot you
And
married a country girl.
yeah, and Dad's like, he's like, "I don't know if I feel bad about lying to you or if I feel bad about all the fun you've missed, but I just feel bad."
Okay, so
So she's like,
it was
yeah.
eventually
So
give
she's
way. Did y'all ever
yeah.
go fishing together afterwards, or was it just like,
Oh no, do you think that stopped it? No,
I didn't think so.
no, no. As a matter of fact, Mom joined in on a few of them after that point. And when we get into that other story, the one I let slip a while ago, you'll find out some more details about some of those trips.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Uh,
I needless to say, that is something I will never ever regret in my life, ever.
so yeah, those are things right there. There's precious moments. Like you just don't suspect them. Like you expect the outcomes coming, but it's not that. It was even more of like we're like, wow, that was such a unforeseeable event. You will never forget it. That's what mostly sticks in most people's mind when
Absolutely.
it's unseeable. Like it's you could not see that being the outcome. And when it is the outcome, it's like I will never forget this. Forget this because like this is a moment. Um, Now when you say you didn't like school, we're already going a little bit over time, but I think it'd be all right. So it'll be the last my
I'm
last
fine.
question.
I'm fine with it.
Um, when you say you didn't like school, now for me, my school was I was bullied. Okay, let me just say right now, I was bullied all the way up through my preschool or my junior or kindergarten, all the way up to a junior high to high school to college to my careers at jobs. I've been bullied my entire life. Um, so when you say you didn't enjoy your school, I had my reasons for not enjoying school, other than my lack of reading capabilities. That was mostly an inner turmoil that I was always fighting. What made you not enjoy your schools? Was it lack of friends? Was it the
So
environment?
I would say I was my own worst enemy. I grew up and still have very much a white knight mentality.
Hmm.
So what made me not like school was the constant fighting because I was always getting into a fight because somebody was picking on somebody that was weaker or smaller or frailer or just not as extroverted as they were, and it for lack of a better term, it pissed me off because I don't deal good with that. Like if you're gonna grab the littlest kid on the playground and jack him up against to the next to the wall, then you're probably gonna catch my fist in your jaw.
So you were caught in a lot of scraps.
I was in a lot of fights. None of them that I can ever remember was over me.
Yeah.
They were always because somebody was picking on this girl or picking on this little kid or this young guy over here that, and I couldn't tolerate it. I cannot tolerate people taking advantage of people like that. I just never could. And when I would try to explain to the authorities at the school, hey, look, I know I did wrong, fine, punish me, but you need to do something about this because this isn't right. This person is taking this smaller person that hasn't bothered them or even spoke to them and beating the snot out of them on a regular basis, and you guys aren't doing anything about it.
So
Somebody's got to do
you
something.
you got a bit of a rapport by doing that often. Your teachers started realizing that you were. Did they ever start realizing why you were getting in so much fight, or was it just a "I'm trying to tell you and you're not listening"?
Yeah, it got better when I got like about halfway through middle school. They started seeing it, but from like second grade to like sixth grade, nobody wanted to hear it. And then when I got to like seventh grade and it was still going on, and I guess those teachers were more used to dealing with those types of situations at those ages,
Yeah.
they started seeing that every fight I got into was not because I was fighting with someone or they picked a fight with me. It was because somebody was taking advantage of somebody else. And it got better at that point, but I
It's
couldn't
horrible in the
tolerate
young.
it.
It's horrible in the preschool years when the kids are getting in fights and stuff like that. I'll give you a quick story of the reason why I say it's horrible. Look good. I was bullied my entire life. So I was at one point I was kind of used to it. I would even go so far as try to find friends with kids in younger years. And this is one of my serious stories I still remember to this day because it's kind of like how messed up the educational system is. So there's this group of kids playing with each other near this little single tube in the further back area of the playground. It was like 4 or 5 of them, right? 4 or 5 of these
Right.
kids, and they were playing Power Rangers. Now, back in the day, Power Rangers, for those who don't remember the Power Rangers or do not know, I'm showing my age here. Power Rangers were these ninja like group of people that different colors that would call upon these mega robots to help them fight even bigger monsters, and they would go around trying to saving the town from this group of enemies that were fighting. So they were playing Power Rangers. So I go over there and I'm thinking I'm gonna play with these kids. I like Power Rangers too. Like a year, I'm in like a class ahead of them, but like they're playing Power Rangers. I like Power Rangers. I want some friends. Let me go over here and make some friends with these kids. Very much did not know these kids at all. Let me just stress that. Did not know these kids. And this is younger years. So I go over there and saw like, hey, can I play too? And they're like, sure, come play in. These kids, by the time we're done playing, are all simultaneously beating my ass, at, all of them at one time, kicking while I'm on the ground, screaming, getting kicked in the head, getting punched, getting the full works from these younger kids, 5 of them, and I wasn't very much of a violent kid anyways. And they're not pulling the punches either. These kids are hitting as hard as they can. They beat the shit out of me. I get expelled from school for them beating me up because I went over there to play with them. The teacher said I antagonized them, and I was just as much to blame as they were for beating me up when not one of them got hit by me. And that was a
Yeah, they
very much a reminder of like how school, like, because you got in it, you were involved, you are automatically assumed to be the villain as well. I'm like,
yes.
5 of them,
Yes.
1 of me. None of them are hurt. All of them no bruises. I was literally on the ground screaming. And
Yeah.
I never forgot about that. That's something I did not see that happening. That's what I was saying about one of those memorable moments. Like, I didn't see that. I did not foresee that. Did not see 5 kids beating the shit out of me while playing Power Rangers. Apparently, I was the
Yeah.
bad guys, and these kids didn't learn how to pretend punch. They just went, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of that kind of stuff was the kind of stuff I dealt with. Like, if I had been on that schoolyard when that crap happened, all 5 of them would have been sleeping because I don't play that. I'm not going to sit there and watch 5 people beat the crap out of one person. That's just that's how I am.
Yeah, you went. My mom's in the chat right now. For those who saw that, yeah, you went to the school and you weren't very happy about it. But I was, I was kicked out of school for a couple days because of that. And I was always
Um,
like, I always remember that very moment. And it's happened quite a few times. I got beat up by bullies. I got beat up by other kids, and I would not swing back because, well, I can't say I was a bitch. I was too kind of a person, and I always thought it as like, why am I getting beat up by this kid? Like, I thought, because my first year of school, I was Mr. Popular. Like, I was running around with the popular group of kids. I was running around with them. I was swinging from the saw. I was running through the gym. I was with these kids that later years I grew up to either never talk to me again or beat me up, and I would never swing back, and I would get all the time. I would get kicked out of school because the bully would bully me, and I, in return, since I was interacting with this predicament, I would expelled or kicked out of school for a couple of days because of that. It's like I never understood that
yep.
whole mentality. If it's obvious one child is, even if I verbally, even if I did, which I didn't, even if I did verbally antagonize them, the kid punched. I'm sorry, my verbal words as a kid is not going to do as much as him punching me in the face numerous of times for the teacher to drag the kid off of me as I'm on the ground in a fetal position.
Right. Right.
And this happened a lot of times, and it was definitely a thing for quite a while. I would say all the way to high school. Even in high school, yeah, I didn't get in fights, but it was still some verbal stuff. But at that point, I was very sharp at the tongue, but I wasn't at a point like, hey, most kids weren't really fighting, and those who were fighting weren't fighting me for reasons. But yeah, that was the reason why I didn't enjoy school. But yours was because of white knighting, which thank you for doing that. It's very nice of you. I was never very much of a white knight until high school, but I mostly had a crew. I had a group of friends at that point. I had a friend, but I only
Right.
had one friend all the way up to junior high, all the way from first grade all the way up to sixth grade, all the way up to seventh grade. I had one friend, and yeah, he was my one friend, my only friend. And then I got another friend, and then yeah, we'll get to that story later on. So does anybody in chat have any questions, any thoughts here? We're gonna be wrapping this thing up here. I want y'all to give a little more time next time we'll be streaming. I want y'all to get to know him a little bit more, because like I said, most of y'all already know things about me, and we'll get to more of my backstory later on. I wanted this one to be focused on him as best we could. We're gonna be telling more stories about our upbringing, so y'all get to know us more, get to know us a little bit better, and then we'll get to the other conversations like our hobbies, our personal life, our ideals, whatever may come up the day. Let me see. Go give that old man a heart.
Yeah. Hey guys, and y'all feel free to ask anything. I'm an open book. I ain't got nothing to hide from anybody. If I can answer it, I'll give it to you.
Can you see them
So
in chat by any chance? Or
I can see chats pop up when I'm watching it.
yeah.
Um yeah, I'm learning. Yeah. So Stealth says I'm tearing that wall behind him down.
Second
So
watch. What's it? Him down. Watch me. Why you want to tear the wall down? What's the story with that? Why do you want to tear the, like? Is that wall annoying, or you just don't like the way it looks?
Oh, she said that I forgot to mention I almost had a younger sibling.
Almost had a youngest.
Almost. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
That's that and to be perfectly honest, that was my fault. I caused it. So,
Whoa, that's
yeah.
a story we can dive into next time. Again, I want to make this a little bit shorter for those who do miss this, or those who want to recatch this or get recatch it again. Be sure to keep your eyes on my Were you able to do the recording thing, by the way?
I fired it up. I do not know if it captured it or not.
Let me know.
I tried it last night, and we had a few hiccups, but I thought it worth trying. If it doesn't work this time, I do have an idea that will work. I just have to get the stuff out and set it up.
Okay, so let me know if it did work. If it didn't work, well, this podcast won't be up there because I forgot to hit the record button. Ah!
Hey,
But
all right,
this is a feel for it. We'll work on it. I definitely need a better computer too, because I was afraid that if I hit the record button, that my computer might hiccup a little bit to a lot because my computer's not that great. Definitely need to upgrade. Um, but it was nice. I hope y'all enjoyed this. What time do you stream? The notification in 20 minutes into your stream. Yeah, I'll be streaming a little later on. I don't know if we have anybody new here, but if anybody is new, I'm gonna give him a moment to give himself a shout out. Do you have anything you want to shout out before we end here?
um, I don't have a whole lot on me to shout out, but what I will say is, if you guys like quality streams, y'all should definitely check Grumpy and Stealth out.
All right, Stealthy's are is the missus of the family. So if those who not know, that's Stealthy Elf Jade on Twitch, or for easy way to find him, it's just twitch.tv/Stealthy Elf Jade, all one word. She's in the chat. Go check her out. Go give her a follow. And I will be starting here in a few minutes, going live on my channel at twitch.tv/Grumpy Bear. Link is in the, down below. You can see it down there. And my YouTube channel also, though I don't know why it's a bunch of numbers rather than a name, where the podcast of this would be going on to. So yeah, we'll be jumping over there in a few minutes. So if you want to join me over there, I'll be playing some more Fall Guys, and then play some Get Your Impact later on in the evening. So if y'all enjoyed this, if y'all enjoyed this kind of thing, tell your friends, please tell your family. This is a definitely new thing here, so I want to see how far this can go. And again, if enough people are coming and showing up, we'll make this longer, and more people show up, we'll do more days. That's the plan over here, right now. So,
Absolutely.
and also his background will be changing somewhat here and there, so you have new things to look at and maybe conversations to bring up. So I'll end it here. Again, every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Central Time for me for that's when I was hit the live button. His time is 1 hour ahead of me, so it's 6 o'clock his time. So if you want to come and see this again, also keep your eyes on the Twitch channel. Both of our Twitters are down below. Go to our Twitters, go to Instagram, go to the YouTube channel. Check those things out. If you like what you see here, come check us again. As always, y'all know how it goes. You have a good day. You have a good
Yeah,
night.
man.
You have a good life. All right,
Yep.
COVID. Take it easy, man.
All right. Yeah,
Later.
man.
Bye.